Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh here on Monday with you guys with 8 games in the NBA to go through. We're looking at some best bets with sides and totals. Also got some player props in this episode, bringing you one episode each and every weekday moving forward. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Follow along with us all season. Let's go ahead and get right into the late game here, starting with the Dubs and the Clippers. And you do like the Dubs to handle business on the road.
Yeah, so initially I look at the line, I'm like, well, Clippers at basically no spread, like they're red hot. Sure, they lost one, like let's dive into it. And yes, the numbers are great. And then maybe it's the NFL mode that I'm in at this point, because it's like if there's a rivalry and the numbers make sense for one side, let's just go ahead and take the other side. Like the Warriors, I think they will be absolutely up for this game. Draymond potentially tossed on purpose once again, because so you could avoid, they sat against OKC. So Draymond at least is on full rest here, even though it's the third and four nights for the Dubs. As underdogs, they're 5-6 ATS on the season. 3 of those are against OKC. One is a back-to-back on the road when they were in that hellish travel schedule that Steve Kerr complained about. Otherwise, 5 straight covers as dogs. And next up after this is an 8-game homestand, as you know well. So it's a spot for the Dubs to kind of get right and start going on a little run here, right? And I don't know how good the Clippers really are. I mean, they had that nice 6-game run before getting waxed by my Celtics. The last few were just against Schlock and Kawhi just leaving his body for a few of those. And look, Jimmy, Draymond, if they're on their P's and Q's and they are rested and energetic, they can give Kawhi some problems. His last 4 against Jimmy Butler, 22 points per game. The last 2 against both of them. He has a 119 offense rating, which is bad for Kawhi, at least what he's been doing. And he's minus 12. And the Dubs are number 1 limiting small forwards on the season. So I think their defense can be pretty good here against, the big weapon that the Clippers have. And the big concern you'd have is that Zoo's just going to tower over them and be Zoo Shack, right? But how many minutes? Like 25 minutes probably, right? I mean, it's only second game back here. So I don't know if he can be that full like monster on the boards on both ends. And I mean, with Derek Jones Jr. out, I have questions about that Clippers defense. They've struggled against quicker teams all year. The Dubs also struggle against quicker, younger teams. So in this matchup of old guys, let's go with the veterans who know how to win, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with it. I just want everybody healthy for Golden State, and then they're a good team. It's just tough to like stay on top of betting them because we don't know who's going to play sometimes, which was really annoying over the last like week or so. But yeah, with a healthy squad coming in, yeah, there's some rivalry. There's some like we need this game. I mean, both teams need this game. I think it's gonna be a good one either way. So I think it's going to be like you said, going to come down to the wire. And if you like the Dubs to be able to do things in the clutch a bit more and like their defense more even right now, I think that's fair to say. So Knicks and Detroit, honestly, like I've had this game circled similar to how Detroit's had this game circled. I didn't actually have it circled, but I did because I don't have a calendar. But more importantly, I like was waiting for the moment that Detroit was going to play New York for the first time this season, going like they could have won that series in the playoffs, in last playoffs. They definitely could have. And they're a much better team right now. And these are the 2 best teams in the East. So you're going to get the best from Detroit. Now, there's a possibility that they're missing a couple guys, but I don't even know if they still delivered their injury report to us. So we're still waiting to hear about that for them. But the key here to me also is like the Knicks are just not really the same on the road. I've looked at their road games and made sure like, okay, are they just missing guys on the road? Not really. They're just bad on the road right now. And in their last 5, although they're 3-2 total, they've beaten the Pelicans, the Hawks without Trey. And I think Jalen Johnson was missing in that game too. And then Indy by 1 point. Barely beating them. Then they lost to Minnesota by 11, and they lost the Spurs there in a game on the 31st there that they ended up losing it at the end, which was bad on their part. Wemby wasn't even in, so I just don't like them on the road. They're 3-8 when they're playing as an away favorite. They're just not nearly as good on the road as they've been at MSG this season, with a record below 500, just straight up on the road right now, 7-8, about an even margin there for them. But the Pistons are winning by about 9 points per game at home, covering pretty consistently here, even when they're playing good teams, and as home dogs, they're undefeated. So I don't think the Knicks have what it takes to come in. I think the Pistons want it more, and they're in a better spot here. So I'll take them at 2.5 points. If you're telling me the Knicks are 5 points better neutral than the Pistons right now, I don't agree.
Yeah, I think it's priced in that it's a back-to-back and that we know Duren and Tobias Harris are not going to be good to go here. But I do love the Pistons at home and just the energy they bring. I think they're better when they play Dennis Jenkins over like whatever Jaden Ivey's bringing to the table at this point. So maybe we see more Jenkins. Don't see props up yet for him, but I think he could be key to get some pressure off Cade here, because Cade, I mean, yeah, he's gonna have to do some heavy lifting with those other guys out. Toronto and Atlanta. This is back to back in Toronto. Toronto won 2 nights ago, but I'm going to take Toronto again because you know what? When they have RJ Barrett, they are a very good team. Let's not forget they won 9 straight about a month ago. We're looking really good. Giant wings everywhere. Atlanta is just up and down. They're the same old freaking Atlanta, man. It's just, you cannot trust them, especially on the road, especially with this Trae Young situation hanging over them, as you say, the trade deadline approaching to get him off the team. And he's not going to play tonight, which, you know, might lean some people to back the Hawks. But I mean, they're 2-5 in their last 7 road games. They had that win at MSG that you called, which was just a good spot, rest discrepancy and all that. This is the 3rd and 4 nights. Toronto, very good at home. As I mentioned, with RJ, they've won 9 of their last 10 in general. They're 7-3 at home on the season with RJ, and they've got a 124 offensive rating. As long as they have RJ Barrett, their offensive rating is also 4 points better without Pirtle, who's still out. Mamu spiked in this last matchup, but they can rotate him or CMB and you know, trade that defense for offense. And Okongwu got nothing going. It's just a bad matchup for Atlanta, apparently. They've lost 5 straight against the Raptors with a 103 offensive rating. There's edges in the recent data in terms of a rebound rate, the assist rate, turnover rate. So possessions go to Toronto. And you know, I trust them as long as they have all these wings healthy.
Yeah, seems like another good spot for them. They're playing really well when RJ's out there, and they don't even seem to need Pirtle quite as much. They're getting by with this combo of CMB, Colin Murray Boyles, and Sandro running the 5 and just running big at other positions, right? And running really well. Obviously, they usually have an advantage right now on the wings, especially the way that they're set up. They do like to have the RJ in the corner, RJ on the wing. He does at least open things up because he's been shooting well this year and just being able to drive a bit more, but just opens things up on offense as opposed to having, you know, Jacoby Walter out there. Even like Grady Dick has just been having a horrible season. They've gotten something out of Jamal Shed, but you know, again, he's too similar in a lot of ways to Manuel Quickly. So yeah, this is going to be a Raptors team that I'm not wanting to play down the stretch. If I'm these Eastern Conference squads as well, they're going to be sneaky difficult to deal with. So speaking of sneaky difficult to deal with, what a great easy segue into the Suns. That just describes them perfectly. They are sneaky, undeal-withable at times, coming off a big win last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder as 10-point dogs. Devin Booker seems to make a difference. They've now played 2 games against the Thunder and are 1-1 with a -1 overall in those 2 games. They won by 3, lost by 4, and then without Devin Booker, they lost by 49 points in the Cup game. So I'm going to buy into this. I do think that they're going to have everybody. They might even have Grayson Allen in this one, as I don't believe he played last night, but was like sort of a game time decision. Might have just been now available for this one. Either way, even without Grayson, Gillespie and O'Neal have really come in and been able to handle some of the things that he does on offense in terms of the spot up shooting and then even the playmaking from Gillespie. So I'm fine with Phoenix right now. The way that they've been playing, they are completely underrated, especially on defense. And it's kind of funny to me that the conversation about them preseason from some people, I know the Ringer was putting out rankings and a couple other spots that were like, Phoenix might be the worst defense in the league this year, which was absolutely absurd when you, not even just because of the fact that the Wizards and the Pelicans and the Hornets all play in this league, but also just because like Dillon Brooks was on this team. He came and just made that big of a difference. He is in some trade rumors for the Lakers, but I don't see Dillon Brooks. I cannot see Dillon Brooks in the Lakers. I don't know if Dillon Brooks wants to be in a Lakers uniform the way that he's just brings that tenacity each time. But yeah, they're in their last 7 games specifically. They are the third ranked defensive rated team. They are 6-1 in those last 7, playing at a nice slow pace, down at like the 7th slowest pace in the league, because they're really, really good at half court offense, and they don't really have the athletic players to get out into transition, and they know that. So they have a really pragmatic, slow offense that really supplements its defense with about a 119 offensive rating here in these last 7 as well for them. So that's top 7 in the league. it's looking good, and they haven't had like a cupcake schedule by any means. And right now, they're still ranked about 12th in terms of strength of schedule so far, and how hard it's been for them to go up against these squads. So I love them at home. No Şengün in this game, probably buried the lead a bit in that one because he's so important to that offense. But yeah, this is at 8.5 without Şengün. I love this for Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some value here. Are they still the best team ATS in the league? But
Yes.
like the one trend that doesn't follow them is when they're at a rest disadvantage and coming off the big win. But I mean, Houston without Şengün could definitely get mucked up here. So yeah, I would definitely lean this way if taking something on the spread. And just the fact that Houston beat them by double digits twice so far this year doesn't really indicate what's going to happen. Yeah, I think Devin Booker have something for him. Probably props, and gonna add the money line here to get Clingan down to just all you need 10 boards, and the Blazers to win at home against the Jazz. They are -6. Look, took him on Friday and ain't much changed. In fact, he's looked even better in these last couple good matchups. So talked about he's basically only gone under the 24 PR that he's set at in the toughest matchups in the league, and the other 7 now. Exact same averages as we had on Friday, 17.2, 12.4, playing 32 minutes a game. Now playing a Jazz team that gives up a ton of blocks, that doesn't get much going if they can't get to the rim. And the big thing here is, can Nurkic play? Questionable with a hand and hasn't played since New Year's Eve. So I would definitely ladder this up a little bit if they don't have Nurkic, because Clingan is just going to tower over these dudes like he did against the Pels. And no Jeremy Grant for the Blazers. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game without him in 10 games. He's implied -130 to get 12 rebounds here. So not really going on a big limb here, just saying like if the Jazz, if the Blazers win, the Jazz are going to miss plenty of shots. This dude leads them in rebound chances by far. Has no real threat at center unless Nurkic can play a full slate of minutes. And yeah, it's Utah on the road, so we do expect them to miss a bunch of shots.
You do. Yeah. I mean, the 10 boards for him is definitely a nice cheap way to get this. And then if you do like to cover, the Jazz are playing their guys minutes now in their incredibly well thought out Jazz way, where they're not playing their best guys either big minutes or at all when they're playing teams that they're not sure that they might lose to them if they have everybody out there. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to look at. There's so much to love about centers going up against the Jazz right now. As soon as you say that, I'm good with that, with Clingan, how he's been cleaning up the glass. But I do like the fact that this kind of moved against me. I was looking at it last night with OG, and I'm just like, man, this dude never rebounds against the Pistons when everybody's healthy, or even when everybody's not healthy, because he's guarding Cade. And that's going to be a guy like you talked about a minute ago when we were talking about the Pistons and Knicks, that's going to have really, really, really high usage today in this one as he's driving to the lane, whether he wants to try to shoot or pass from that sort of the foul line position that he drives to. Like, yeah, OG is just going to be out of position for boards consistently. He's now at about 7.5 rebound chances per game in his last 4 versus Detroit in the regular season, and he's averaging 3.8 boards per game in those 4 as well. So this is a nice under at plus money at this point. And the other thing is, when he's playing with Mitrov and Cat both available this season in any situation, and obviously there's only one game in such situations without Josh Hart, and he did go for 6 boards the other day in their last game, and not even with like 9 rebound chances, so ran kind of hot on the boards. But either way, he's at 4.4 boards per game in a really like 17 game sample size with both Cat and Mitchell Robinson playing with him. Just never going to be the second best really not even really the second best rebounder on the court. They're starting Mitch Rob as well. So playing both those guys together also just pushes OG further from the basket, out of position. So I like this for plus money. I know he's been doing well and better than in past years in terms of rebounding, but this is a good spot for the under.
Yeah, it makes total sense when you talk about him out there defending Cade, who likes to take a lot of baseline fallaways, a lot of middies that have to be contested. And you're definitely, you're not in a position where you're able to get the rebound after that. And Detroit, yeah, not giving up many offensive rebounds, even with Durant out. I still trust B-Ball Paul and company to clean up the glass there. I'm in Thompson, 26.5 points and rebounds against the Suns. You mentioned I do like him a little bit more because the Suns are at a rest disadvantage here. You look at their back-to-back numbers, the splits dip in terms of their defense. They allow 117 a game. They're so good limiting assists that I wound up just pulling those off, and you get a much better price rather than adding 5 assists for the PRA here. But with Şengün out, I mean, Amen's just going to have the ball in his hands a lot more. You look this year, not a huge discrepancy in terms of the splits, except for when he played Phoenix without Şengün last month and went for 31 points on 12 for 17. Last year, 3 without Şengün, he was 18, 9, and 7.3, played 3 more minutes per game, took 7 more field goal attempts than his average when Şengün was out, just attacks the rim. I mean, Durant is gonna try to get his against the former team once again, but Dylan Brooks, much tougher matchup. And it's a situation or trend, if you will, where with teams that try to chase you off the 3-point line, that play really aggressive perimeter defense, Amen usually goes over against them. Phoenix is just that. I mean, they're very good defending the 3-point line and forcing guys to take awkward non-restricted area shots, right? And that's just Amen's game. He's like, perfect. That's what I want to do. Get me in the middle. Let me work on my float game. So he's scored 11 points on drives, shooting 53% against Phoenix. And in those 2 matchups has 28 and 31 points straight up. And so the rebounds are always pretty reliable for this supreme athlete. And for what it's worth, with the PRA, he's gone over in 6 of the last 7 after a Rockets loss. So a little bit of motivation for him after they lost to Dallas.
Yeah, I don't mind adding the assist either. I usually am just like, I'm just going to play PRA for Amen Thompson. He might be just as liable to get 17 RA as he is 17 points sometimes. So like, let me not miss out on any of that. But
yeah, and I was going back and forth between just the RA here, but I just can't. Yeah, the numbers would say Phoenix does a really good job on the assist.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you found one stat that you're like, ooh, this one might not help me with this like probably 6.5 line or what have you against a good assist defense for Phoenix, to your point. So let me close out with our boy Sandro. I know he didn't come through 2 games ago, but Mamukelashvilli is definitely going to be out there, whether he's in the starting lineup or not. I was mentioning earlier with Toronto and liking the bet that you have for them to handle the Hawks again. And Sandro came off the bench in the last game, played 32 minutes. I don't totally know what Darko's doing with the rotations, or at least not starting lineups. I think he just tries to find the guy that he thinks fits the best with the other 4 that are the big 4, quote unquote, for this squad with Scotty, Emmanuel, Brandon Ingram, and RJ. And then you're just kind of like, when RJ's out there, I think they're like, oh, well, we've got a bit more shooting. Let's get Colin Murray-Boyles out there, who allegedly is better on the boards than Sandro, even though Sandro messed around and almost had a triple-double in the last game for Toronto. So I think Sandro is locked in at like a floor of 26 minutes, and it would take a lot in terms of either foul trouble and or Colin Murray-Boyles playing out of his mind, which we haven't seen outside of the rebounds. He's not scoring much, and Sandro can do that for you. Then you've got the 3-ball coming for him with the drop defense played probably by KP at this point. KP's been coming off the bench. If that's his matchup, then I love Sandro to be able to score. And honestly, I don't even mind the boards at that point because KP's so I don't want to call him out of shape, just never been a great rebounder, and doesn't seem like he's very fleet of foot with the way that he hasn't been playing ball much anyway this year. So I think Sandro is good for both, but the 10.5 just struck me as really low if you have him closer to 30 minutes than 25, which I absolutely do. I think that's a solid minute projection for him.
Yeah, big game off the bench for him last time up. I wouldn't expect much different. Definitely a swing and a miss. Yeah, 2 games ago against Denver, he had 0 off the bench, but he was relegated to the bench. We didn't know that necessarily. We thought he would continue to start without Pirtle, but in this matchup, then you get more. If you come off the bench, you get like Vit Krejci and KP, as you're saying, just guys, that are not really fleet of foot or known as defenders.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one, though. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, coming back all week with an episode with both these best bets on the sides and totals and the player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.